Look at any street today and you'll see the same logic. Clothing is designed for movement. We prioritize loose fabrics, cushioned soles, and the ability to function in a fast-paced world. But 500 years ago, in the height of the Renaissance, that baseline of comfort didn't exist for the people at the top. Imagine attempting to walk in shoes with tips so long they posed a constant tripping hazard, or wearing a starched, rigid ring of fabric around your neck that prevented you from looking down at your own hands. These garments were often dyed with substances so rare that a single outfit cost more than a manor house. To us, this looks like a ridiculous costume, but for the most influential people in history, these physical burdens were a deliberate choice. They were engaging in a status arms race. Every restrictive seam and expensive dye was a calculated public maneuver. In the 1500s, fashion functioned as a weapon, a highly regulated visual language used to prove social dominance and enforce a rigid hierarchy. This system relied on the barrier of practicality. For a noble, the goal was demonstrating they were physically incapable of performing manual labor. The most extreme example of this was a shoe called the poulain. Some versions extended a foot beyond the wearer's actual toes. To make walking even remotely possible, the tips had to be tethered to the upper calf with a thin cord. By wearing these, a noble signaled that they didn't need to work in a field or navigate a workshop. The shoe itself made labor impossible, instantly separating them from the peasant class. This immobilization extended to the neck with the ruff collar. Maintaining these was an ordeal. Servants spent hours using heated irons and starch to hold the shape, ensuring the white fabric remained spotless in an era of soot and grime. Once donned, the ruff acted like a brace. It made it difficult to turn the head or tilt the chin, locking the wearer into a stiff, permanent posture. While physically agonizing, this discomfort was proof of high rank. Only those with no need for physical exertion could afford to be so restricted. This forced a psychological shift. Because they couldn't look down, the nobility were physically required to maintain a literal high-nosed gaze over the working class. By embracing these physical limitations, the elite transformed their own uselessness into a signal of their position in the social order. Beyond physical inconvenience, the elite utilized a barrier of scarcity, using costs that were simply insurmountable for everyone else. The most guarded resource was purple dye. Before the invention of synthetic colors, purple was so expensive to produce that wearing it signaled a level of wealth comparable to owning a modern multi-million-dollar supercar. In many regions, this was reinforced by law. Royal decrees banned merchants and commoners from wearing purple, ensuring that even the wealthiest non-nobles could not mimic the look of royalty. Even the base fabrics were dense with wealth. This velvet is woven with actual gold threads, creating an incredibly valuable garment. Every sequin and floral pattern was meticulously stitched by hand, one thread at a time. Men wore exotic feathers, jewel-encrusted hats, and meticulously groomed beards, leaving no part of their person undecorated. Every inch of a noble's wardrobe functioned as a billboard, broadcasting their trade connections and their untouchable financial status. The visual language has changed, but the instinct behind it hasn't. Fashion has transitioned from the heavy, immobile architecture of the 1500s to the engineered casual wear of today, yet the drive to signal status remains. We might find Renaissance collars absurd, but our own era is filled with its own versions of the status arms race. In 500 years, people will likely look at our expensive sneakers and limited edition hoodies with the same confusion we feel toward pointed shoes. Clothing serves as a ledger of human influence, and we are all still participating in the same competition for status. If you want to see more of the hidden logic behind history,